I was thinking, I don't know which one's going to be the most difficult to do. But I thought if we started off just with a nice rose design. These silicone molds I got from Amazon, so I'll put a link to those in the description box below the video. I've got 3 different waxes I'm going to be using in today's video. Tomorrow's video will be something else, the next day will be something else. And we'll see how each one works, because I haven't actually used all of these waxes. I've used Beeswax and, well, I've got yellow Beeswax. I've got KERAX 422 here, which is a paraffin wax. What I love about this, it looks very unique to all the other waxes. It has like a translucent look to it, so it's almost transparent, but it isn't, and it has a lovely sheen on it as well. That tends to be the kind of wax you see used in most candles, most cheaper end candles, because of course it is cheaper. So the beeswax, yellow beeswax we're using today. I do have white beeswax as well, but I actually really love the look of yellow beeswax candles. It's just gorgeous, this wax. I love it. It has a very strong beeswax smell to it. You can see it's quite yellow in colour, but it looks absolutely beautiful in a glass container that's see-through, be it a jam jar or a more luxurious jar. And that's what will determine the price of your candle. Depends how cheap your wax is, how cheap your containers are, or you can go all the way through to using the more expensive waxes, and the more expensive waxes tend to be the natural waxes. Okay, so we're going to start off with the KERAX. This one is the Paraffin Wax 422. I'm going to put a couple of 100 grams in there, and you need to melt that on a double boiler, meaning a pan of water, and then sit your wax in it. This wax takes twice as long to melt as soy wax does. It does need to be quite hot to be able to melt this wax. So we'll do that, we'll come back and we'll make that one, and then we'll go on to the next one and then the next one. So we'll do the paraffin wax first, then the beeswax, and then the pillar wax. Okay, so we're just going to pour the wax into the mould now. And you're wondering where the wick is. I'm going to let it set to a certain point, and then I'm going to stick a kebab stick in there. Okay, so let's try with some of the beeswax now. Try just over 100 grams because there was too much in there. Beautiful colour, the beeswax, isn't it? And I really love to see a beeswax candle in a honey jar. It just looks so good. Gorgeous golden colour, looks beautiful when it's lit. Now I'm just going to melt this in a double boiler. So the wax is setting flat at the moment, but I'm expecting a real concave centre. I'm going to use just some kebab sticks, and I'm going to pop that in. And I just waited until it got a skin on it, so it would literally just stay upright, and make a nice hole in the centre where we can thread through the wick. Just makes life easy. You can drill it, you can just pour it, let it set, and then drill a hole in if you want to, but I prefer doing it this way. So we're just going to look at these now. They've set, and look along the sides, see if we can find any dips in the middle, but also can we see any overpours. And you can clearly see we've got overpours, but this one I made with the pillar wax does have a bit of a compression. It's not overpoured at all, so I think that one will be alright. But the paraffin wax is overpoured and it still has a little dip. The beeswax is pretty flat, but I have actually overpoured that as well. And with a pillar candle, because they stand on their own, this is going to be the base of the candle. That will actually stand on the bottom and the flower above will show. So what we're going to do is just scrape, gently scrape some of that wax off there until we've got a nice flat bottom. Now we can do that. It's pretty hard wax. You can see it hasn't taken much off there at all. Is the paraffin wax any easier to scrape? Yes, that definitely comes off easier. You don't need to be this fussy when making candles, but I just like to give you as many tips as I possibly can, because I know people love tips. And this is part of a week-long series, how to make candles with lots of different waxes and containers. Alright, it's time to unmould. Which one shall I go for? I think we'll start with the yellow beeswax. And just start off by releasing around the edge like you would with any silicone mould, and start pressing up with your fingers underneath, and then lift it out like a lolly. Isn't that a beautiful mould? I'm pretty sure it was a peony mould. I love peonies. So obviously we haven't got anything poking through this end. And we want to poke a hole just in that end to get our wick through. The only thing is I don't exactly know where it's going to poke through. Another one with, it's got the end on, the point on it, and then quite simply we're just going to take one of the wicks. The ones I'm using here is TCR 2414. Happens to be the only non-wooden wick that I've got, so I'm just going with whatever I've got sitting in here. Now I always think it's a really good idea to use a sustainer. That's what the thing's called on the bottom, no matter what. I've seen wicks in containers that don't have a sustainer, and when a lot of the wax melts above that, the wick just wants to fall to one side, and then it kind of drowns itself in all the wax, but it tends not to do that if you use a sustainer on the bottom. So I think that looks pretty gorgeous to you. Now it's quite popular to take a wick instead of cutting it. It's just makes a cute photo. Just twist it around your kebab stick. It'll just look really nice with the wick sticking out at the top. And then obviously if someone was going to buy that, you would suggest that they cut the wig before they light them. So that's an absolute success. Very, very happy with that one. Now we'll try the paraffin wax. I don't see any reason why any of these shouldn't work. Incidentally, you might wonder how long did I leave the wax in the moulds. I actually ended up leaving it about 24 hours because I had a lot of wax melts I had to make yesterday. So I would have unmolded them last night, but we got visitors. You can see what I mean about it being sort of translucent. It's a really unique form on this wax. One that you don't get with any other. At least I haven't seen any other look like that, and I love it. I think it's gorgeous. So you can see the wick is showing through. Just a little difficult to get the wick pulled out, the kebab stick pulled out, because you don't want to damage. Ooh, very hard to pull out. There we are. So we've got a hole going right through the center of that wick, and we can see we've got a nice hole in the top there as well. So we're going to do the same again. We're just going to pop a sustainer in there. So in this series we will be talking about fragrance oils and adding a certain percentage, and everything will be going into the CLP of fragrance oils. But I will say here, I don't know why we as a manufacturer of the products need all that alarming information. Yes, I can understand that information going on a fragrance oil bottle. It still doesn't make any sense to me for the purchaser, that the purchaser needs all of that. Because does that mean, say it's got the fish triangle, does that mean if you drop the candle into a river it's going to kill all the fish? I bet it doesn't. All it is basically is someone in the government who has to sit there and come up with all kinds of new rules and regulations to introduce year after year after year after year. And it's just getting out of hand. Now that is what the pillar looks like. That's the soy pillar wax. It's made a fantastic job. Absolutely. That looks the realest as compared to like a real peony. If it's added to a playlist and you click to play that playlist. A link to the playlist will be in the description box of the video, but you're only gonna get one video in the playlist. Right, now it's time to light these beautiful pillar candles. Why do I call them pillar candles? Well, because they're not in a container, but you could also call it a wax melt. So that's the wicks cut. This ever so cute. I might do for something else. Now, I didn't show you this. This is the pillar wax. This is the soy wax. It breaks a lot easier than the other two waxes, and this is the whole purpose of me doing these videos this week, is to find out what happens with different waxes that you use. The other two have unmolded perfectly clean, but this one has left quite a bit of wax left over, so it's broken off some of those petals. But only you would know that. If someone was buying it, they wouldn't know. It still looks gorgeous. But you tend to find that soy wax is always softer than pillar wax and beeswax. Okay, that's the end of episode 1. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. I did. How about you? What did you learn? Let me know in the comments down below the video. Bye bye for now, everyone.